Welcome friends to another r/I don't work here lady video. Our first story of the day is by oddhat8, a cute little story while shopping with my mom. This just happened yesterday. My mom and I were out running errands and had gone to a Rally's that we used to live near and shopped at hundreds of times in my hometown because they do $5 Mondays and they have a few items that we needed. So we were in the dairy section checking out if there was anything that we needed. Now, I'm 5'10", and from behind me, I heard a little old lady voice asking for help. I'm a generally nice person who's worked retail for years and has respect for older people, so I asked what she needed help with. The old lady said, "Can you please grab some yogurt for me?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." I grabbed the ones that she needed and handed them to her. She had a big smile on her face. The old lady said, "Thank you for being tall. I don't know what I would have done. Have a good day, dear." I said, "You're welcome. You too." We parted ways and that was that. My mom and I giggled for the lady saying thank you for me being tall enough to grab the yogurt that she needed. It was nice to have a story that had no shouting or managers or cops being called, just a good wholesome story with no dramatic ending. I'm just imagining a scenario where it goes the other way and OP's like 5'2" or whatever and the lady's like, "Oh, why couldn't you have been taller? I need yogurt." If given the opportunity to reach up on the top shelf and get something down for somebody, would you find personal joy in that, or would it just be another thing to do for somebody, or would you be the kind of person to not even reach up on the shelf for the person? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Graveyard Pixie. I know you don't work here. I recognize your uniform. This is not the typical I don't work here lady story, but as it's basically the inverse, I thought it was entertaining enough to share here. The only bit of relevant background information is that I have a close friend who works for a company that goes into retail stores and takes inventory for them, so I recognize their uniforms. This happened in the spring of 2017. I had just gotten out of a doctor's appointment and went to a nearby chain pharmacy to drop off my prescription. I take a few maintenance drugs for some minor health issues. They could fill it for me, but it would be a 20-minute wait. Since I had my infant with me at the time and he was sleeping in his carrier, I decided to pick up a few things for him there instead of making a separate stop at the grocery store after. While I was going down the baby aisle, I saw a guy wearing the same uniform as my close friend, kneeling down near the baby shampoo with a little machine in one hand that tells me he's counting items on that shelf. I walked up next to him and saw that he was standing in front of the item I needed and braced myself for things to get awkward. The following is our conversation. I say, "Excuse me, sir." The guy who doesn't work there sighs and says, "I can't help you, ma'am. I don't work here. The employees in red polo shirts can help you." I say, "Oh, I know you don't work here. I have a friend who works for the same company as you. I just need one of those bottles of purple baby shampoo on the bottom shelf in front of you." The guy who doesn't work there says, "Oh, sure, the J&J one?" I say, "Yeah, that's the one." He picks up a bottle and hands it to me. "Here you go." And I say, "Thanks." He says, "You know, you're the first person who's recognized the uniform and listened when I said I don't work here in a really long time." I say, "I'm not surprised. My friend has a lot of stories about customers who can't seem to tell the difference between your company's uniform and the uniform of the store he's working in." We chatted a bit more while I worked my way down the aisle finishing up my shopping. I told him some of my best friends' I don't work here stories and he shared some of his with me. Then they called my name for my prescription and we said goodbye and I went to go get my medication and pay for my items. It's always a nice day when somebody actually identifies the form of uniform a person's wearing. And this sub, amongst these stories, that's practically unheard of. This next story is by Luck of to Draw 34. Honestly, I think everyone's just cranky. And that's okay. It keeps happening. Usually it's enough to say, "I don't work here." Sometimes I'll still help anyway. It's honestly no big deal. This time, I kind of might be at fault. So I went shopping at the Bullseye store. It's a rare day when my kid's father opted to watch all three, even though he really didn't want to, but that's neither here nor there. I was by myself, with maybe 1 hour to just shop and decompress, and I was loving it. Decided to get some chocolate that I was totally going to scarf down in the car before going home. They had tons of different kinds. I'm salivating and loving that I get a whole candy bar to myself. I select one and turn to go, and I hear it. Ahem. Now there's a couple different tones one can take that sound. There's general, sorry to bother you, but please. There's, I had a frog in my throat. And there's, let me speak to your manager. Guess which one I got? Okay, it's okay. I can do this. Just be polite and she'll go away. Nope. The Karen says, I need brand candy bar. Where is it? Me with a deep breath says, if it's not on the shelf, perhaps the workers either ran out or haven't restocked. She says, well, go look. I say, I don't work here. She says, yes, you do. You're wearing red. Well, freak me standing. She's right. I say, I still don't work here. She says, yes, you do. It's red. Clearly, Miss Karen is in a bad mood. Okay, I still got this, bad mood or not, red shirt or not. I can't just go into the back of the store. So I opted to just stand there and stare at her, very casual-like. She asked if I was deaf and why I wasn't saying anything. Kept standing there, not moving. Then she reads the front of my shirt. A red shirt that reads, be gone before somebody drops a house on you too. With a picture of the Wicked Witch of the East's feet from Wizard of Oz with the red ruby slippers on the bottom. The Karen says, are you threatening me? How dare you? You stay right there, young lady. I'm getting your manager. I just shrugged and kind of walked off, grabbing my chocolate. Oh, chocolate, how I do love you. Let me count the ways. And going to self-checkout. I thought I heard her voice as I was leaving, but I'm not sure. I'm sure she was just having a bad day. Maybe she didn't take her meds, or maybe she was looking for a fight. Don't know, don't care. I had my chocolate. Mine, all mine. I kind of appreciate how much OP enjoyed their chocolate here and how determined they were to not let anything else stop them from just enjoying their time alone with the chocolate. This next story is by Chill Bishop. Where are the little girl panties? That's how it started. So one day about a month ago, I was waiting in line for sports cards at my local Walmart. It was right after open, so about 7:15. There were about 5 of us in line standing adjacent to the women's clothes because that's where they stock the cards. None of us are wearing blue vests, yellow vests, or anything that looks remotely professional or remotely like a Walmart uniform. And we all have our own carts, hats on. One guy has a tiny camping chair. I cannot stress how little we look like we were on the clock at Walmart. A guy comes up. Hey, sorry to interrupt your guys' coffee break, but where are the little girls' panties? I process, probably slowly, that a grown man just loudly asked another grown man where the girls' panties are. I just kind of respond with, I don't know, there's swimsuits right over there, I guess. Probably somewhere around there. Okay, thanks, he goes. The rest of us look at each other like, wow, that was a bold question. Another 5 to 10 minutes go by. Hey, I never found them. How don't you know where they are? I respond, why would I have any idea where the girls' underwear is? Well, you work here, don't you? No, man, none of us work here, obviously. Why would you think that? Well, you're all standing here in the women's section. Well, no, we don't. Sorry. He walks off grumbling and waving his arms and hands. We all obviously know he's not a pervert. Probably. But we thought it was odd to have a guy with a beard ask completely unabashedly where the little girl's panties are. Plus, like, how hard is it to find them, honestly? You find girls' clothing, and they're around there. I don't know, just my silly experience. I could write an online mini-series about the funny stuff that happens in the card lines. I feel like in any event, if it's like a father-type thing, you feel like they would have some kind of explanation and better phrasing attached to this. Oh, I need to get something for my daughter, do you know where the girl's clothing is or something? Not like walking right up to some random person who they think works there and just saying what they said. I don't even want to say it again. There's just like a complete stranger danger type thing coming from this entire story. I don't know, am I overreacting on this? Let me know what you guys think. This next story is by Elephant Explosion. This was more of a, "I don't work here, sir." So I was walking in the grocery store, and I was pretty deep in my own thoughts, not paying too much attention to anything in particular other than my dinner plans. Very vaguely, I hear somebody talking a good ways behind me. "Hey, hello, hey, hello, hey," just repeated a few times. Now where I live, plenty of people talk loudly on their phones while having it on speakerphone in the store, so my brain wasn't paying much attention at all and just kind of assumed it was somebody on their phone that had lost connection or something. I keep hearing the heys and hellos behind me, and I just assume the person that's on the phone is going towards the same aisle as I am. I stop to look at something on the shelf, and some guy comes up behind me riding on one of those motorized scooters and he yells, "Hey, hello!" I turn around and looked at him very confused. He looks me up and down. I'm wearing black pants, black shoes, a black t-shirt, and a gray hoodie. After looking me up and down, he stops and looks at my face. Well, mostly my eyes because I'm wearing a face mask. He stares at my over-exaggerated eye makeup. I was feeling fancy today, so I went a little overboard with the eyeshadow. He just stares at me for a second and says, "You don't work here, do you?" I just shook my head and he looked a bit embarrassed and drove off. I know it's not some crazy Karen story, but I thought it was kind of funny because it was kind of really awkward. It must have felt really awkward for that guy to realize that he's just been slowly driving this little motorized scooter after somebody, going all through the store going, "Hey, hello, hello," and then finally catching up to them just for them to be exactly not what they were looking for. And our final story of the day is by Grim52, Blind to Large Letters. So, I used to work on an ambulance service that was based out of Reno. Even though I worked in California near the border, I had just turned 19 at the time and defiantly looked it. So people were sometimes surprised when I told them where I worked. The company made us go through orientation, which had to be done at their facilities, which was an hour-and-a-half drive from my podunk town. After a few hours of training, I was released, but decided to stop by a Marta Walls to get an energy drink and some snacks for the ride home. I pull in, take off my uniform shirt. Note, I still had the bottom uniform pants on and a t-shirt that had some job description stuff on it in a few places. Anyways, I walked in, found my stuff, and was standing near their jewelry section, deciding which line to stand in made it out the fastest. While I was making up my mind, I heard an "excuse me" behind me. Now, it wasn't too close and didn't sound hostile, and me being the introvert that I am, ignored it, thinking it was someone trying to talk to an associate. Until, that is, the second "excuse me" was much louder and right to my left. I turn and see a woman, Karen clothing but at least not hair, standing looking at me. She looked a little annoyed and asked, "Yes, hi, I was wondering where..." Realizing she thought I was an employee, I cut her off and said, "Oh, I'm sorry ma'am, but I don't work here, and I have no idea where things are in this store." She looked pretty confused and said, "Oh, but you're in uniform, so I thought you did?" To which I am positive I looked much more confused than she was. The uniform, you see, was a pair of black steel-toed shined boots from the Navy, nylon cargo pants with trauma shears, stethoscope, pens, notepad sticking out of various pockets in plain view, and a thick belt for holding a radio. The shirt had Company X, EMT on the left breast pocket, and EMT in massive letters across the back. Where she approached me from. I looked at her and said, "Yes, I am in uniform. I work for Company X. I'm an EMT, like it says on the back of my shirt." She clearly looked embarrassed now, muttered an apology, and scurried away. Nothing else happened, and I made my purchase and drove home, wondering how someone could be so hurried as to miss the giant letters on my back. Anyways, nothing too exciting, but a good reminder of how dumb some people are. There's definitely a weird phenomenon where if you're in any kind of store, and you wear any kind of clear, distinct work-related uniform regardless of profession, It seems people latch on to assuming you just work there in some capacity. I can't tell you the number of stories I've read where somebody's wearing scrubs in a grocery store, and people think they work there for some weird, undiscernible reason. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.